Oh, no, he didn't.
Girl, yes, he did.
Welcome to another week, another edition of Oh No Girl. Yes, the podcast where we just kind of flesh out some things. We are actively sourcing content in a pandemic. So give it up for ourselves. We are trying to have conversations while we are quarantining. Yes. It was already hard enough when we were free to move about, but we've had to get creative and to still somehow stay encouraged. So we appreciate y'all still tuning in to listen to us and check us out. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Follow our YouTube page. And don't forget, we also have a Patreon page where you can pay just a little bit to support the efforts every month. And you also get behind the scenes dish when you do become a Patreon subscriber. Now, an example, we put out a teaser for it of what kind of dish we give. Whereas we might talk about, I like apples here on the podcast. On Patreon, I'm like, girl, let me tell you about this apple I love. Was that a good example?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's
I
why
cut it up. I put sugar on it. I put it in the pan.
So, and don't forget about first date. We are still looking for singles, men and women, any age, doesn't matter. Send us your email to the OhNoGirlYes inbox on Facebook. So we can send you out the little quick questionnaire. That's very exciting that we're going to do a live online dating game. So that'll be cool. So send us your information.
It's gonna be fun.
First date. All right. So what we're talking about this week, for you guys that have been listening, you know that we talk about current events or something that's going on in our lives or just something that's happening. And so something that's been a recurring theme, and I've had a couple of conversations with some men about this recently, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is what responsibility do we as women have in trying to compensate for the shortcomings of men in dating, in the pursuit, in the maintenance, all of that. I have been told recently that women need to do something differently or something more or even something less to compensate for the challenges we're having in dating. And this is after the acknowledgement of, yes, men are messed up, we men, we're messed up, but what y'all need to do. So what do you think about that basic concept?
I totally disagree.
Okay.
Be forewarned, people, that this conversation may continue.
We're gonna live. Yeah, we're
gonna address this now, but we may invite some of these idiotic men.
Because this is the thing. I've been having this argument, and I said, you know what? I should have one of these men on the podcast. Because one, we would love to hear the perspective of a man who obviously doesn't speak for all men, just like we don't speak for all women.
Right.
But a difference of perspective and have a dialogue, because that's the whole point of the podcast, is for us to have conversations we're not having and hopefully be able to grow closer to being able to make connections in our own lives, right?
Yeah.
So we're not going to call them idiotic, but...
you've talked to so far have not convinced me of this concept. And there may be another man out there who can verbalize it even better. Maybe I can receive it better, but I'm not receiving it at all coming from their standpoint right now.
I'm not receiving it either, but here's the thing. I'm one of those people, I can understand someone else's perspective even if I don't agree with it. And I don't know right now for myself if I can understand their perspective and I don't agree with it, or that I don't understand their perspective. I'm a little torn on what it is I feel. So basically what these men have said to me, more than one within the last 24 hours, is that yes, we men, we have issues. We have unresolved childhood issues and traumas. We have relationships with women in our lives, maybe mothers or grandmothers that weren't the best. And so that might color and affect how we interact or think about women. And yes, we don't generally go to therapy. And yes, we usually don't do our work to be okay. And we usually don't do our work to mend our broken pieces or at least tape them together to be able to move forward in a productive way. I've had both men say, yes, this is true of men. We don't do that.
Yeah.
And they follow that up with, but what y'all need to do to work around that is this. And I take offense that the onus is not on the person with that particular issue. I feel like women, we have broken parts, we have childhood traumas, we have things that have colored our view of the world based on the interactions with men in our lives.
Right.
And that is on us to do the work. We can't say, well, because I have this childhood trauma, you need to be this way with me. It's okay. I need to reconcile that and figure out how I can be okay with that.
Yeah. That's why I figure I have enough on my plate and enough issues of my own to deal with than to now try to make it easier for you to deal with. I don't know how to say it, but I can't take your issues and my issues and just pile them on me. I'm not going to do that.
Put them all on you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not your mother, and I'm not here to be.
And that's the thing. You don't want to be their mama because they obviously got problems with their mama, and that's why they got problems with you. Yeah, so I was thinking when I was talking to these guys, it was this theme of we are afraid of being hurt. Let me put a pin there. Men are afraid to be hurt or rejected, and women are just as afraid of being hurt and rejected. However, we are hurt and rejected more often because we put ourselves in a situation and position to potentially have that happen because we're still trying to form these connections.
Yeah.
Whereas men won't even put themselves in a position to form a connection out of fear of being rejected and hurt.
Right. Which goes back to this recurring thing we've had with the last few men we've dealt with, where they won't even allow themselves to go beyond that friendship thing because they don't, that's not fair to us. Because I've been dealing with rejection and heartbreak and all that, all of my dating life. I haven't had one relationship that worked out.
Not one.
So you're telling me that you can't deal with rejection and bounce back just the same?
And that's the thing. You learn from experience. Now, I'm not saying go out here and fall in love with every person you meet or put your heart on the table for every dinner or, think that your happiness is attached to someone else. But if you as an adult, mature person has such a fear of it not working out that you won't even try, what does that say?
What am I supposed to do?
Friendship thing. That guy.
What am I supposed to do? Just make it easy for you? Well, let me ask myself out, and you want to come along, or how?
Well, that's what we're going to get to about even asked out, because really, you think about it. To me, when I think about it, it's like I'm thinking about in the context of a relationship. I think all of us, when you actually meet someone and you actually feel a connection, you might start getting nervous if you start feeling it growing because, like you said, nothing's ever worked out before. I'm a little afraid. Okay, I feel myself going a little deeper. Let me make sure I'm making better choices than I did last time or paying attention. But we are at a place where we're not even getting to the first date.
Exactly.
We're not even getting to be afraid and concerned because we've made a connection that we want to see if it could grow.
Yeah.
We're not even able to say, hey, let's go on a date.
Yeah. And I don't feel like that's part of my job description as a woman to take on that. I'm not taking that on. And we were talking offline about it. And I was very, very adamant about the fact that, if this is how it has to be, I might just be alone. For the rest of my life. I've been alone and I told you, I said, I'm not going to spend the second half of my life doing something like, no. We got to come up with a solution.
About it. Like most of us at our age, you're much younger than me, but still we're on the back nine. We've probably seen most of our tomorrows behind yesterday, And so it's this thing like, so what can we do to reconcile our own hurt, our own disappointments, our own rejections, our own heartbreaks? And I've been sending you memes all week from men who have been posting things about, it's okay to tell a woman she hurt your feelings or your feelings are hurt. And then the comments are, and then she's gonna call you a punk, and then she's gonna call you a woman.
The crybaby man, I cannot deal with. I cannot. I'm so tired I'm tired of the woe is me. I don't need it.
No,
I don't need
crybaby. But see, even saying crybaby, that's what they fear you saying. But it's
like a cry. Well, stop being a crybaby and tell me your feelings. Sorry, we knew we were gonna get a little.
I know we knew we were gonna get. It's funny because I thought I was gonna be the one getting riled up. I'm like, hey.
But no, what I'm saying is, be a man and state your feelings. Or not even. No. Take it back. Don't be a man. Be an adult. Period.
I was going to say, because being a man to them has processed since childhood, that means they don't express their feelings.
That's why I changed it. Right. Be an adult.
Be an adult.
We are adults.
Use your words and say, hey, that bothered me when you said that. Or when you said that, that kind of made me feel a certain kind of way. And let us respond. Let us Let us explain. Let us apologize.
Yeah.
Let us be aware so we don't do it again. Don't just ghost us. Don't just sleep with our friend. Don't just start kicking it with somebody else because your feelings were hurt. Don't try to hurt our feelings in return because your feelings were hurt. We don't know your feelings were hurt necessarily if you don't ever tell us or communicate that.
Exactly. And so, yeah, the comments have been bothering me the most this past week of people just
right.
Like they have the wrong idea of women.
They have the absolute wrong idea of women. And so then it goes back to what women are they dealing with? Mm-hmm. And then also what happened to those women that they're dealing with. Because we all have a story. We all have a story that has informed why we are the way we are. All of us. And even in the best situations. I know I have friends who grew up in 2-parent loving households, and that woman has a challenge with finding somebody that's going to measure up to her dad. So she has some challenges. I have people, myself included, grew up in a single home. So she's never, or myself, I've never had a male figure to care for me or support me. So I'm hyper independent. It's people who had abusive dads or horrible dads. And so or moms, you know, and that's the thing. Every situation, whatever is considered good, bad, or otherwise, has informed who we are and how we react to situations as results. But if you just decide you're going to stick your head in the sand and not participate because of it, I think you're missing out on a great opportunity to love and be loved. And it's causing us great frustration and angst, and it's going to lead to season 3 because we ain't never going to run out of stuff to talk about.
At this rate.
So you mentioned about the dating. So in the context of these conversations, one of the people who I was having a conversation with asked me out years ago, jokingly asked me out. And in response to him jokingly asking me out, I jokingly laughed. Okay. He never called me. He never texted me. Nothing ever came of it. So years later, he recently said, well, why didn't you go out with me when I asked you? And I said, wait, did you actually ask me out? Or were you like just making conversation and giggling? So he said out of his mouth, well, yeah, I may have done it timidly and jokingly, but then when you laughed, it just kind of ripped my heart out and it didn't give me any encouragement to pursue it further. So you jokingly said something, and the fact that I responded in kind and laughed, I now have ripped your heart out and rejected you, and you'll never be the same again. So I said to him, well, I just don't understand how that works. Like, you didn't ask me out seriously, or I never had no reason to take you seriously. You saying yourself you didn't present it seriously for fear of rejection. So he said that when he jokingly asked me out, instead of laughing, I should have said, okay, how about tomorrow at 2:00?
That was supposed to be your response.
My response was to complete the action of asking myself out. Because he also says, no, you should never ask a man out. I said, but you just said that I should have responded to you by saying, okay, tomorrow at 2:00, Starbucks. That's asking you out. So again, he said women should be easy to get and hard to keep. And he feels right now women are hard to get, but easy to keep. Mm-hmm. So how easy can you be to get when a man won't even ask you out?
I don't understand that. Without asking them out yourself.
I have another friend who was asked out on a virtual date, and she didn't even know what a virtual date was. She agreed to this virtual date, still not even knowing what it was. And the person didn't even show up for the virtual date, didn't call, didn't text, didn't explain nothing. Now, because she wasn't overly attached to it, she's like, oh, well, whatever. And I'm saying, you know what? But now this person is not being accountable to you based on what he suggested and asked for.
So you brought up that when we talked about that as well, you said maybe it's time as women, even when we don't care about that person, we've moved on, we need to start holding people accountable and letting them know.
And that's our responsibility. I feel like that part is our responsibility more so than asking ourselves out. And because if a man can't even ask you out, there's really nothing else we're going to be able to do. So real quick, back to that. I told this person who told me that, I said, I've asked men out before, which he's like, no, you should never ask men out. I said, but you just told me I should have finished asking me out for you. But I don't have a problem with saying, hey, you know, if you want to hang out, let's hang out. you know. Yeah. And what I have found in those situations repeatedly, because this person didn't have enough security within himself or belief in himself or understanding of himself and myself to even approach me, to ask me out seriously and genuinely, throughout the course of our interactions, there was always an insecurity that he exercised because he never felt like he deserved me. And he never felt like I was being honest and authentic in my interactions with him because he didn't even trust himself enough to come and say hello and ask me.
That's not your problem. That's not your problem.
It's not my problem.
It's his problem.
So that's why I'm not going to make it easy for you to ask me out. Either ask me out or don't, but don't hold me accountable for that.
But I mean, it's not.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that the whole make it easy to ask out. It's a question. That's the easiest thing you can do. And you won't do that.
I will say, friend, based on how you kind of huffing right now, I can see why somebody might be nervous to ask you that.
No.
I will say.
Yeah. I mean, and if I'm too much for you, then move on. Shoot. I'm sorry.
All of that part there. So, but this is the thing. I feel we do have a responsibility on holding men to a certain standard.
Okay, that's what I was getting to with the other part, the back end of it. Because traditionally, if a guy left me hanging, ghosted me, did all that, I don't have to ever say your name ever again because that's my energy wasted on somebody who I have no feelings for and no connection.
Exactly.
However, maybe we've done a disservice by letting these men think it was okay.
That part. So I feel like that has got to become our responsibility because between the two of us, we've been ghosted a billion times. And that's no reflection of who we are as women, but we also ain't running up behind nobody to well, what happened? Well, why you didn't show up? Well, how come I haven't heard from you? Well, we just say, oh, well, okay, keep it moving. And we have got to do a better job of saying, hey, I was curious about why I hadn't heard from you, or I'm curious why you didn't show up for our date, or I'm curious why you didn't do what you said you were going to do.
Yeah.
And put them on the carpet. Doesn't mean they're going to respond. Doesn't mean they're even going to tell the truth.
Oh, okay. So we say I'm curious about, because see, I had a whole nother set of text messages.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
How dare you?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because here's the thing. The how dare you is always kind of like, look, dude, I don't even care. I don't even care. And so a lot of times,
but I would definitely say, hey, that's not how you treat people at all. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how.
We've never done it because we don't do it.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I don't know how to approach it.
I told my friend who got stood up on the virtual date, I need to follow up with her. I told her, I said, I know you didn't care and it wasn't a priority and you're not even really interested in him and you didn't even know what a virtual date was. However, we are doing a disservice by letting men just negate a responsibility or not show up for something they suggested. And that's why he's doing it to me next. And he's going to do it to you next. And he's going to do it to the next one next because he's never been required. So I mentioned this to one of the men I was talking to, and he agreed 100%. If women started requiring more from men, we would potentially get more. Mm-hmm. Now, I agree with that. But again, I'm not trying to raise a man so I can date him.
Yeah.
I want an adult person who can use his words, can share when he's confused or upset, hurt, can trust me, can see me as a partner, can see me as someone on his team and not somebody that he has to mush in the face because he think I might hurt his feelings. I need somebody that can see me just like I want to see them.
Yeah. Now, do you think that's a difficult position for us because of our age? You know, when you meet someone when you're 20, and people who have been together since their early 20s or whatever, they're kind of growing together. So they don't see this and that as not being an adult or not being mature. It's just we see our growth as we go together. But now when you reach a certain age where you're kind of matured and then you see this guy still acting the same way, do you think that makes a difference or makes it harder for us?
Oh, it's definitely harder for us being of our age and being independent and having grown up alone because we can see our own growth, right? And so we know we're different. I'm different from last year. I'm different from last month. Mm-hmm. I'm actually different from last week, you know? Mm-hmm. And so because I'm able to appreciate my growth and say, wow, I used to feel this or think that or react to this that way and I don't now. I can appreciate that. So I know when I'm coming to the table with a man or a potential partner or even just a date, I'm secure in the growth I've done and know that I could grow again. Right. Just like what you said, when you're younger, you both really have a confidence that neither one of y'all know what y'all doing. And so, okay, we'll just grow up together and figure it out. Once you are an adult, and you are a fully formed adult and you have been an adult for most of your life, okay, it's hard to receive someone who hasn't matured.
Yeah, it is.
What you been doing this past 30 years?
Devil's advocate. How do we know they haven't matured? How do we know that they didn't start from a place worse than that?
They talk about your thigh meat before they've ever had a phone conversation with you. They don't show up for your virtual date. They don't ask you out like an adult human person. They try to make a joke out of it, and they get upset with you when you laugh. That's how you know.
Thigh meat.
That might be a new T-shirt. Please don't ask me about my thigh meat. Please don't ask me about my thigh meat.
Oh my goodness!
I'm saying, you meet people, you know they're not mature. Your last few situations, you wouldn't deem those people as necessarily mature because they were afraid to do what mature people do. And as we have said, we have grown up. We still are growing. Yeah. But if you can't even start at hello as an adult, I'm not saying you need to be 100% perfect in who you are today. I'm having greater appreciations for people in my life right now, whereas I may not have appreciated certain things about them even last week. Yeah. That I can appreciate about them more this week. Yeah. And that's the beauty of listening, learning, and growing.
I don't want people to misunderstand what we're saying. Especially people in relationships, because we understand there are things that come up in relationships that have to be dealt with, and sometimes you have to be the bigger person, sometimes he has to be the bigger person, this, that, and the other. We're talking about just a simple date.
A date. We still just trying to get on a date.
A simple initial interaction that happen because men have this insecurity about themselves.
They don't want to be intentional about the interaction. Let's just be friends.
That's what we're talking about. Let's be clear. So if I can't even get to that point, then that's why I said, I was like, if it's up to me to make you feel good about yourself in the initial reaction or interaction, that's going to be tough. That's going to be a tough thing.
And it's something I think that people don't realize. I think some men, and again, when we say men, we're talking in general. We're not saying every and all, but most.
The ones we deal with.
All the ones we've ever met. Clear. It's this thing of we want to take care of you. We want to love you. We want to nurture you. We want to support you. We want to encourage you. We want to be your partner. We want to be your helpmate. But I can't raise you up from birth to do that. You got to come to me fully formed and be available and open to us growing together because I want you to be that for me. So why wouldn't I want to be that for you?
I need you to be potty trained. You got to be
able to ask me out.
I need you to be able to hold your own bottle. You need to be potty trained. I can't feed you. I can't breastfeed you. Can't latch on.
Be potty trained, do we? But yes, be potty trained. These men walking around looking cute and you go for that first hug and like, hold on, you got on a pull-up? Did you stop there? Because the pull-up is the in-between from the diaper and the underwear.
And here's the thing, men who feel that way, what we're talking about, will listen to us and be like, see, that's the problem. That's the problem. That's why it's hard for us to have somebody on here because, see, I've been told them about this stuff.
If we have one of those men on here, we're going to have to promise that we let them talk, and we have to promise not to call them an idiot, and we have to promise not to yell at them.
Not to tell them to adjust their diaper because it's too tight.
But that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of men get stuck in the pull-up stage. They never fully trusted that they won't poop themselves. If they had on some big boy underwear.
It's just not fair. It's not fair to women. It's not fair
to women. And you can't ask us to then make all these adjustments and accommodations and finish asking ourselves out because you have a fear of rejection and you have a respect of my.
How about Sunday? You're laughing when you ask me out. You know how many times we've been asked out since we've been 10?
You know what I said to him? I said, if I went out with everybody that said something, I would be out with everybody in my inbox, everybody at the produce aisle, every construction site. Hey, baby, hey, baby. Okay, yes, tomorrow, 2:00, Starbucks.
Come on, man. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. It's just not that hard.
And you know what? And this is the thing. I get offended when someone starts a sentence with, well, it's not easy to, ... Because I feel like who says it has to be easy?
It's not that hard either, though.
It's not that hard. There's a chapter in my new book that says, at its most difficult point, how hard could it be? Most of the things I do in my life are easy for me. It might be hard for someone else, but I don't not do things because they might be hard.
Right.
If it's something I feel like it's worth or that I want, I'm going to say, oh, well, that's not easy to do, so I'm not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know what? I'm going to have to work a little bit harder to make this happen and figure it out. And I'm going to have to dig in and find something myself I don't normally have because I think that's worth it. It doesn't have to be easy.
Yeah.
But if you're telling me it's not easy to say, hey, but seriously, I know I was joking earlier, but I really would like to get to know you more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had another person, and I told you that a couple weeks ago, jokingly asked me out. I responded in the same joking manner. And that person followed back up and was like, no, I'm actually being serious. Like, I really want us to go out. And I said, oh, okay, sure. I said, okay, sure. He started asking me what kind of food I liked, what kind of sides I like. And I was like, you really do it? Okay. We exchanged phone numbers. He texted me that night to make sure I made it home. Mm-hmm. That was about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. I have not heard from him since.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. Okay. So I'm supposed to say, hey, we still gonna get that salmon and green beans?
Yeah, and they would tell you, yeah, you're supposed to follow up with him. Why?
He didn't know that you were serious when you told him you like salmon. So
if you don't think I'm worthy enough to just follow up from a conversation that you initiated, and that's what the guy told you.
Initiated it.
That's what the guy told you. He was like, well, I know you're this kind of woman and you deserve this and that, but you didn't even give me that respect.
At all. But he's saying that he didn't pursue me because he respects me so much. But he also counts himself as one of the good guys, one of the great guys, one of the guys that's amazing, and an amazing man. This is what he said. This is what he said. A man like me that respects your beauty and respects your hustle and respects that you can do this and respects all this. Yeah, we're gonna only dip our toe in, and we're probably not gonna pursue you like that. Whereas a man who doesn't respect you might be like, hey, baby, what's up? We're gonna go out. And I said, no, that doesn't mean that. That just means he's secure in himself.
Yeah.
Just because a man approaches me and asks me out like an adult does not mean he does not respect who I am. Mm-mm. So you can't put your insecurity in a box and act like, oh, that's because I respect you so much. And if a man,
I don't understand why people,
he don't respect you.
I don't understand why he thought that was a compliment if he did, because that's like an absolute diss.
He ain't gonna be no guess because
it's an absolute diss. I respect you too much. I respect you too much to ask you out. No, you respect me too much to do right, to act right.
You just intimidated, and that's okay. It ain't for you. We ain't gonna be able to have him on because
I don't think we might do it on Patreon.
We're not mature enough to have him on.
No, we might do it on Patreon. We might do it. We can get a little looser.
So we do not agree with the notion that we need to make it easier for men to approach us or to pursue us because we are available. We are on dating sites. We have announced we are single. Our inbox is open. We have been, we posture ourselves in a position even before the pandemic that we would go out as we would be conscious of our body language. We'll be conscious of being open. We will be conscious about, paying attention to where he might not look like or be the traditional one, but hey, let's see, this might be an option. We've done that. Okay. And we're doing that. And that's why with the podcast, we have to call ourselves on the carpet a lot of times because we get frustrated and annoyed and disappointed, but we know we got to have content. So we have to stay in the game so we can keep our podcast going. We can't just sit here every week like, girl, I ain't talking to nobody this week. Give me either. I ain't going to try this week. Give me either. That's how we feel. But we know as long as we actively engage and try, then we still going to be on the right side of history. And if we end up alone, like we are right now, we are alone by choice. Okay. Then that's just going to have to be the answer.
Yeah.
We also are taking up our responsibility to when we do have an interaction with a man to require a certain level of communication and accountability so he don't go thinking that's cute for the next one. So we have to start doing that, women, to say, hey, I ain't even interested in you. It wasn't even my idea, but you gonna do what you say you gonna do, or you at least gonna communicate why you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're gonna have to stop just saying, oh, well, screw him. We got to start holding these dudes accountable.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm not going to make it easy for you by I'm on a dating app. All you got to do is ask me out.
I'm on a dating app. All you got to do is ask me out.
I don't know how much easier it can get. Not going to do anything else. Not going to do it.
Ask me out. Then don't tell me the next day you emotionally unavailable. Never mind.
Yeah.
Don't ask me out to ask me to be your friend.
And so we caught on to that game pretty quick and kind of nipped that in the bud and held those men responsible in a way by letting them know that wasn't gonna happen.
That ain't gonna be a thing. And we took ourselves out of that situation. We didn't try to convince them otherwise. We said, that's not what I'm here for. Take care. And both of those men, we both had one, both of them kept trying to convince us that that was okay and that we were being irrational for not agreeing to be a friend. Make sure y'all follow us Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to Patreon, subscribe to YouTube. We're going to eventually have to have one of these men on as a guest.
No, I just need our male listeners. I know we got a few out there, more than a few. Somebody send us a DM. You can do it anonymously. I need to hear from you about this right here.
We need to have a conversation about, we have to now ask ourselves out to compensate. Okay. Like, comment, share the podcast. We love to hear what y'all think. We want to hear your comments. When we do the live, for some people that might listen to us strictly on the podcast platforms, we also do live conversations on our Facebook page. And so make sure you have liked the Facebook page so that way you'll know when we're going to have one of these discussions live, and you can also be a part of that conversation with your comments. And so we do those about once every other week. So if you strictly listen to us, still make sure you like our Facebook page, Oh No Girl Yes, so you'll get notified when we do these videos live.
Yep.
Right. Okay, I feel like I was worried about myself for this episode because I had these heated conversations with these men, and I said, girl, I don't know if I'm be able to do it, but I feel like you got more riled up than me. So
you know, I'm always riled up.
You stays riled up. Oh no, he did.
Girl, yes he did.
Again, stop it.